14 WILI and 95.3 FM presents Hometown Threads, a closer look at our community and the people that make it go. Every week, you'll hear uplifting stories from our local businesses and our neighbors. Now, here's our host for Hometown Threads, Keith C. Rice.
Welcome into episode 104 of Hometown Threads on WILI 95.3 FM, Willimantic Today Facebook, Spectrum 192, and of course the WILI Radio YouTube channel, which you've liked. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's WILI Radio. You'll see all our great talk shows up there. We got to get Wayne on YouTube. I just thought about that. We have all our talk shows. Should get some of the Wayno shows on YouTube. But this is called Hometown Threads, not Hometown Heroes. I'm sorry, I got it. Before we get to our special guest, which is those of you who are watching this, you know this man. Everyone should know this man. And for those listening on the radio, hang tight for 1 sec. I got to just go on a little, get on my soapbox here for a second. As this show's been on for, about 2.5 years now, Matt?
Yeah,
over 2 years. We just did our 100th episode. And it doesn't happen all the time. But every now and then I'll go, hey, I love your show, Hometown Heroes. Now let's go. It's Hometown Threads. And we came up with Threads because of the Thread City, Willimantic and all that. And anyway, I know, I kind of laugh it off. Hometown Threads is the name of the show on WILI 95.3 FM. Only one place to hear it, plenty of places to view it. And we couldn't do the show without our fine sponsor, Liberty Bank, Be Community Kind, with 3 great local locations. 679 Main Street, Willimantic, West Main Street at 1703 West Main Street, Willimantic. My wife manages that branch, and she got mad at me last week because I didn't say the address. 1703 West Main Street, Willimantic, Marion. And Route 195, Mansfield, Liberty Bank, Be Community Kind. J. Matt Rupar, if you'd be so kind, and say hello to the fine folks.
Hello.
And, of course, big shout-out to Mark Tripoli of Tripoli Pro Clean Services. He sponsors the podcast, so you can go to WILI.com and not only listen to Hometown Threads, not Heroes, but all our great talk shows at WILI.com. So thanks to Tripoli Pro Clean Services. Now, without further delay, let's welcome in our guest for episode 104, the great Jay Hanfield. The crowd goes wild.
Well, the show's over. You talk so long. Huh?
I have to get all that.
I have nothing to say anymore.
We got a lot to talk about, my friend.
There is a lot.
Jay and I go way back, and we're talking about. Let's see, and I know you'll correct me. First of all, congratulations on your retirement. It's been 5 years, right?
Seems longer, but it's been about that 5 years.
Well, you deserve it, my friend. So I've known Jay since middle school when I'd walk down the street from Kramer with my friends, and we could not wait to not only get out of school but to enjoy Remy's grinders. And then, just a few years later, Jay Hanfield sold me my first car. Please tell me you remember that too, right?
I remember everyone, almost.
Because when you're a car, almost. Okay, hopefully you remember.
Some I don't remember, but
because I know being a car.
99.9%.
You remember? I mean, yeah, you see so many people and work with so many people. So I know we got to get into. Boy, it doesn't get any. This guy, you talk about the ultimate native of Eastern Connecticut and Willimantic, Jay Hanfield, no doubt about it. We'll get to some of your earlier days, but did you? I should know this. Did you start Remy's? Or were you just...
No, the business and building have been there for, I think, since the turn of the century. And from what I understand, there was another Italian family before my grandparents who owned it. So I understand my grandparents bought it, Carmelo and Maria Santalucia. They bought it, I think it was in the early 40s. And they're the ones who started making grinders.
Santalucia's Tony?
That's
okay.
my Uncle Tony.
Right. Oh, I didn't know you guys were related.
Yes, my uncle.
And Anthony, who's my age, he's been on Hometown Threads. I had no idea. See?
Learn
it's amazing.
something every day there.
I know.
So anyway, they started using cabbage because what I understand was lettuce was expensive during World War II. So cabbage being more plentiful, that's when they started using that. And it proved to be very successful. And then my parents bought it, I believe it was after my father got back from World War II, was in the early 50s. And they took it over from them. And again, Remy's is just an institution. It's been there forever. I still see people almost every day that say, God, I remember Remy's going down there back when I was in Noble School.
Do you get recognized more for Remy's or selling cars?
Kind of everything. I mean, I've been in politics for
that's right.
40 plus years, working at Wild Motors for 20, then over at Gates, for almost 15.
You were at Gates for almost 15? Wait, were you at Gates longer than Wild? Or
Pretty close. No, Gates was probably 15-ish, 14, 15, and then down at Andy's place down at Weil, it was 20.
Wait, what? Weil was after Gates, or was it Gates then Weil?
Weil then Gates. Don't get me confused.
I'm sorry, Weil then Gates.
That's
Okay. So let's go back to Remy's. You were behind the counter running the show there from, I don't mean to put you on the spot, roughly from when to when?
Get there at 9 o'clock and
Years, yeah.
I worked there as a kid. I was basically, it was kind of a grocery store too. People don't realize that.
Yeah, it wasn't just a convenience store; it was
No,
a grocery store.
think about all the stores. I mean, I was growing up in Willimantic. I grew up on Spring Street, right near High. So we used our bikes to go everywhere. Back in those days. We could go use our bikes and go everywhere. Mom didn't care. She knew we were safe. So I remember going up and down Main Street, starting with Farino's Market, where the bike place is now.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
That was Farino's Market. Next door, I think it's the hair salon. That was Milo's Market. And then Brett Schneider's, Harry's.
Wow.
And then Remy's. And then Mazzola Markets, where the Thread City Cafe is.
Yep.
And then you had, again, Jim's Coffee Spot. And there were so many cool places to go to in Willimantic then. I could almost name you every building on Main Street.
You did a great job there. Wow, that's pretty good.
Well, there's more. I could go from here all the way down.
Well, this is before my time, but keep going. I mean, this is why I brought you in here, because to catch up a lot of what you're doing. But also, this show's going to be a lot of reminiscing here, so keep going.
Yeah. And I'm just trying to think. After that, there was Mazzola's, and then you had Jim's Coffee Spot, and then you go down. There was Lamont's. It was like a newsstand.
Lamont's, I remember that. Yeah, by the YMCA.
By the YMCA.
There's a lot of places we miss right here,
in
including
this building. There used to be Curran's Pharmacy.
Okay.
Right over here.
Hurley's, of course.
And then Hurley's across the street.
Bill's number
Dick
7.
Anthony, Bill's number 7.
See some of the stuff that were my generation. Ready? What was the shoe place? Ben Ziegel.
Ben Ziegel.
Mike Giblin. No, he'd be a good guest on there. Mike Giblin used to work at NASA's as well.
Shoes, Two Brighties.
Gingras, Two Brighties.
The old Army surplus store.
Wow. Look at you. You have a great memory.
I haven't forgotten.
Fantastic.
Those things never leave your mind.
It has come a little more alive. You got a lot of younger business owners now, but I know I'm a little biased. It's doing a great job. It really. This, despite what people may think, and they're not around here like every day, we see the growth. A lot of people are just passing through and make, Willimantic. No, it really has come alive again. But I can't help go back to the generation where growing. It was just there's a lot of stuff now, but there was a lot of stuff. I'm an 80s kid. kid, so.
But going back, think about how fortunate the baby boomer generation is. We didn't experience any wars. I mean, there was the Vietnam War, and the Shea family lost their son, which was a tragedy. But for the most part, we had it easy. We saw the advent of TV back in the late 50s. You know, the technology. Think of the technology.
WILI was your top 40 station in town?
Yeah, it was.
No.
Everybody listened to the radio and read the Chronicle. But
that's right.
You know, media is really on the downslide now, unfortunately. Or
not really.
Well, not WILI 1400.
I will say this. Now, in a way, you can make a case for that. But I don't mean to cut off your thought.
No, that's okay.
And I'm not just because I'm behind the microphone here. I will say, this is a unique situation we have in Willimantic with local radio. You know, I'm not going to go on a rampage here or a rant, but it really is. You are right in a way where, radio media is totally in another world these days. But this station, what it does for the local businesses is huge. But no, I see what you're saying on the other.
Right, there are some AM stations in local towns that still do well. People rely on them for a variety of things: news, weather, sports. You know, Wayne's been here for
Wayne's an
80
institution,
years, 90 years,
and that's why we went to 95.3. I was telling you earlier to get a stronger signal, because 1400. Let's face it, you in and out of Willimantic. You leave Willimantic, it's gone. But 95.3 has really brought WILI, given a nice little push. So.
Well, thank.
And there's I-98.3, our sister station.
Good. I'm glad you're surviving. That's a wonderful thing. I hope it continues for years to come.
Thank you. Now, back to Remy's for a second. I keep going back to Remy's because what year did it close? And were you part of that? No, were you there for the last day at Remy's?
Yeah, it got to the point where, Subway opened. There was a lot more competition in town. And, being a small business owner, it's pretty tough. You got to work 7 days a week.
Yeah.
It's not a job.
You were by yourself, weren't you, for a while?
No, I had my cousin Keely Santa Lucia.
Oh, Keely, okay. Yep.
Gary Jones worked for me for a while. There were a bunch. Paul Hussey worked for me.
Get out, Paul.
Yeah, back when he was in Noble School.
The chief, the former chief?
The chief.
He sat right there, did a guest spot, yeah.
What an awesome kid he was.
Oh.
He really was.
Oh, yeah,
But
he
all
grew
the
up right
kids,
near me.
They were probably in 6th, 7th grade. They'd come in after school every day from Noble.
Yeah.
And then I said, hey, you want a job some days? And I said, sure. So I had him take out the garbage and collect the bottles. And
I think
give
I
them
remember
back.
this, yeah.
Yeah. Kid cost me a fortune.
Wait a minute, what happened? Come on.
He'd take out the garbage and then made himself a grinder, had a soda, bag of chips, a couple of yo-hos, and
Oh, my God.
we laugh about it to this
Yeah.
day. He was a great kid.
All right, so who else, let's see, who else worked for you that you remember off the top of your head? You mentioned Paul Hussey and Keeley.
Paul Keeley, God, there's so many of them. Darren Rule,
Okay.
Tommy Fiasconaro. I mean, there's probably
You can go
10.
right down the line.
Yeah, there's a lot.
What was the popular thing? I'm sorry, well, we're going to get into other stuff too, but I'm stuck on Remy's because you're bringing back a lot of memories for me. What was the big thing on the menu there? I know grinders, obviously.
Well, the slime
because they called it
grinders.
Remy's Grinders, right?
Yeah, it was Remy's Grinders. Yeah,
That was the name of the place.
yeah. And back in when my dad took it over, they used to get their rolls from Mandel's Bakery, which I don't think you've ever heard of. It was where that breakfast place is.
Yeah.
It was Mandel's Bakery. Nady and his brother ran it, and then they sold it to the Wojcicks.
Oh, then it was Franco's.
No, after that it was the Wojcik family. It was Henry's.
Well,
Henry's
okay.
Bakery, and then it was Carmelo's. Carmelo Franco.
Franco, right.
Yeah.
So Franco's after Wojcik.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's
So it's
a
been
while.
there for a long, long time, back in the 50s. But they're like everything else, everything's gone now.
Yeah.
You know, now we have convenience stores. We don't have little mom and pop stores, which all over the country, that's what this country was based on, mom and pop stores. You know, the first big store that came in, I think, was A&P,
Yep.
which where the Elms is
Sure.
over on
Valley.
Valley Street. And then I think Finest, and then Stop and Shop. And one by one, all the little mom and pop stores just went out of business. They could. And another thing is, a lot of the kids, the family members, didn't want to, spend the time because it takes a lot of time. You know, you're open
does.
7 days a week, 360 days a year. It's tough being a small businessman.
And what year again did Remy's close its doors?
I think it was 91.
Okay, again, I don't mean to put you right on the spot, but
That was the year they put in the income tax
oh,
in the state of Connecticut. That was not a help either.
now you have a great memory. Do you remember the day you guys closed up at Remy's? Was it?
Well, I kind of sold it or gave it to Keeley.
Oh, okay.
Because I remember the first time when I first left, I think it was 85. My wife said, you got to get a real job. I said, what do you mean? This is a real job. No, you need a job with benefits, 5 days a week. I had 2 little kids.
So that kind of got the ball rolling with what you were going to do with
and
Remy's.
Andy Weil, who I worked with when we were going to college, Andy and I worked at Brand Rex, 3rd shift.
Andy Weil, good friends of my family. Yeah, great guy.
Yeah.
Great guy.
So,
You did 3rd shift together at Brand Rex?
yeah, we worked 3rd shift at Brand
I
Rex.
didn't know Andy did that.
Yeah, with Phil Shine. He was our manager.
Wow, my God.
I got a lot of memory stored up here, so...
I guess so. All right, so go ahead.
What we do, when we get out of work, I forget what time it was, 7, 8 in the morning, we'd grab a towel and go to the beach. Or if we had a softball game, we'd just go home and take a nap.
Oh, I still love 3rd shift too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what you guys would do. Now I was assuming, and Jay Hanfield's our guest, by the way, episode 104 of Hometown Threads, WILI, Willimantic Today, and Spectrum 192. Brought to you by Liberty Bank, Be Community Kind. Now, I'm guessing this is where, because you're transitioning from Remy's to getting into car sales?
Well, that's what it
Yeah, tell me how that all
Andy
happened.
was coming, we have known Andy, he'd come in the store once in a while. And I told him one day, I said, hey, Andy, I'm selling Remy's. He said, what are you going to do? I said, I had no idea. My wife said, get a real job. So I thought
for a second Andy was going to buy Remy's.
no, he had a good gig over there.
Yeah.
So, where was I?
Oh, you
So
need
he
a real
said,
job.
so what are you going to do? I said, I don't really know. He said, why don't you come and sell cars? I don't know anything about cars. I know you put the key and you drive it, but
If I'm right, you're hired.
yeah, the other guys are winning smart either. So, but anyway, so I started there in I think '85,
Okay, 85.
and after the couple of days, I got a brand new car to drive.
So
That was a little
let's get into
scary.
that a little because you. We'll get to how you. Oh, I met you. Well, I already knew you from Remy's, but Okay, you don't know anything about cars. Obviously, they took you through some training and all that.
No,
Did
there's
you?
no training.
No training? How'd you pick it up?
All you gotta do is talk to people. That's all it is.
No, true.
It really is.
Yeah, but you got to know
they're-
something about cars, right?
Yeah, you put in the key. Here's what it. Then you got the power windows and the power locks. It's a four-cylinder engine. You put the gas in over here.
Legendary car sales. Maybe I'll get out of radio and start selling cars.
That's
I
what
can
I'm
do it.
working
I don't know anything about cars.
But how much do you really need to know? You just gotta
Wow.
be nice.
So did you
to
fall in
people.
love with it? Did you really? You must have. You must have. You
After
did it for
20
years.
years. Yeah.
Okay,
But
so
no, I got a brand new car. My income doubled. I was working 5 days a week. I said I hit the jackpot.
oh my God, look at you. Go from Remy's to selling cars. So you got any good Andy Weil stories that you can share? Come on,
Andy-
you tell us one. Give us a good Andy
No,
Weil.
I really can't.
Oh, come on. Are
Andy
you guys
was so
still?
good
You guys
to
still
me.
close?
Well, I haven't talked to him in a
Is he
long
down
time.
south now?
Yeah, he's down at Hilton Head.
Hilton, then, yeah.
I think I paid for a couch in that house.
My father, who's probably listening, come on, you got to have one good Andy story. And maybe we'll come back to that. We'll come back if you think of one.
No, I really can't.
Okay.
He was good to me. That's all.
Yeah.
I love the man.
I had-
Andy, I love you.
He's a great guy. Great
And
guy. I haven't
love
seen
you
him.
as well.
I remember being a child and Andy. God, if Andy does watch or come across these shows, I can't vow to reveal this. I told my wife this the other day. I remember being almost an infant. Well, not an infant, but really young. And Andy Weil would come to he'd come over to my parents' house, and I remember him doing. It was Andy Weil. He did this, and I lost it as a baby. I started crying. He scared the heck out of me. And then I grew up, and I think we might have brought that up years later because I ended up going to Weil to buy my first car from this man,
I remember.
Jay Hanfield, the
You and
Grand
your
Am,
dad. Yeah,
Pontiac Grand Am.
That was the best-selling car in this day.
Grand Ams were hot back then.
There's still
Right?
some on the road.
They're still on the road?
There's some of them still.
Matt, do you see Grand Ams? I don't know.
You wouldn't know it, but I would. I know.
Where are they? Wow.
They got to be, I don't know, when did they stop making Grand Ams? 20 years ago?
Oh my God.
But
Well,
that's
you're
what-
thanks to you. The only I did like my Grand Am, but after that I just drove Hondas. I loved my Grand Am, but I've been a Honda guy ever since. But
Well, the car is just a matter of what you want to drive.
yeah,
That's it.
and you're right though. That Grand Am was great. It really was. Got me many years, and that was a big decision. That was like the early, 90, 92, 93, somewhere around there. But God, who else did you sell cars to over the years?
I think
It's
figured
like
out
the
other
Remy's
day,
customers,
I
right?
think I've sold probably 70,000 cars.
Wow.
You know, a lot of them are repeats, but at least figure over 35 years, a couple thousand a year. I mean, it adds up quick.
So you must have. Yeah, I mean, like once you get rolling, it must be so
Yeah,
much
you
fun.
build up a clientele.
Yeah.
If you do a nice job for them, they'll always come back and they'll refer people to you. That's what sales really is.
So you did Weil for how many years?
20.
20, and then you went over to.
Well, I sold real estate for my cousin Pat.
You did
Farino,
real estate too.
just for a year. I figured, what am I going to do? At that point, GM. Well, I don't remember. I think Andy got Hyundai, which is probably the best move he ever made. And then he focused a lot of attention there. And GM was, and Ford and a lot of the other manufacturers are downsizing, closing up the small dealerships.
Oh, really?
So I figured, okay, it's time to move on. So I went to, took the real estate course, passed it, and went to work for Pat and Rob Farino.
No kidding.
Did that for a year. And I picked the greatest time. Back in, when was the 90, 91, 89, 90, when the housing market crashed?
I was like a senior in high school then. But,
2000?
yeah.
2000, right around there,
Yeah.
2000. Good timing on my behalf, eh?
Wow. Jeez.
But I knew a lot of people, so I did okay, but that's another job.
What did you like better, selling cars or well, you did cars longer,
cars was
obviously.
good.
But did
Grinders
you?
I love the best, though.
Right? Really? You take grinders over car? How would you rate all the careers? Were we missing a career? I know you did.
No, that's it. 3.
Grinders, cars, real estate.
And retirement.
And
That's a career in itself.
Oh, yeah. Wait, I was going to ask you about. Oh, and you've done it. Tell us what you've done for politics around here.
Well, my father was, Jeremy Hanfield was, a Republican. He was on the board of, I think it was the board of aldermen back in those days. And he was a Republican. And he ran with Ralph Crossway. This is back probably in the 60s, maybe. So, I mean, back when I was 20-some-odd years old, nobody had a political philosophy like today's kids, and a lot of them do. We were kind of dumb back then. We didn't really, all we cared about was playing sports, chasing girls and having fun.
Life seemed a lot more simple.
It was very simple back in those days. So I remember I was at the grinder shop one day, and Henry Kucharski, he was the chairman of the Republican Town Committee. So he came down. He said, "Hey, we want you on the town committee." I said, "Okay, what's a town committee? What does it do?"
It's like selling cars. Isn't it?
No, that's
Well, no, it's not like selling.
That's a totally different game. Holy Christmas! And, I mean, Lorraine McDivitt, she was around back then. You know Lorraine?
I know the name.
Yeah, okay. I mean, there were so many people. And I remember a lot of Democrats, too. Johnny Lesko,
John Lesko, yep.
Andy Carey,
Yep.
the Five Bs. You don't remember the Five Bs.
5Bs.
Bonifine, Baruch. They were all Democrats, and they were all in the council back then.
Okay.
Ernie Bocash. I mean, I got more names in politics and more names.
So did you guys all, both sides
It
have
was
a
kind
race?
of cool back then, because they
Yeah.
weren't liberal Democrats like they are now.
It was much-
Everyone was kind of conservative, middle of the road.
Everyone got along much better.
Everybody got along great.
Yeah. Not that people don't get along these days, but it's just
No, they don't. I mean, most people do. There's people on the hard
Right.
left and hard right that just.
yeah.
We talked about this earlier. That you're not going to convince them, and you're not going to convince you.
It's a little nuts at times, but so tell us about retirement though. Now retirement's been going quite well.
Yeah. so
Just
far.
consists of golf all week, right?
Well, winter's a little bit different. It's kind of you get up in the morning, you go on the computer,
Have
see
your
what's
coffee.
going on in the world, and you turn on the business news, have something to eat, take a nap.
Wow.
And then, not every day, but some days.
How old are you now?
74.
Wow. What, and you retired like in your late 60s, huh?
I love working.
Good for
I
you.
love being with people.
Good for
I
you.
love talking to people.
Yeah.
People are fantastic. You just got to talk to them, and that's a big thing about selling. When you meet a customer, you have no idea who they are, but they walk in, you introduce yourself to the wife and the kids. You make friends. I mean, when people left, I knew everything about them. I knew where they lived, where they worked, if they were from out of town, one from Pennsylvania, how'd you guys meet? So I got to just talk to people. It's really
Absolutely.
easy.
No, you're
It's like you do on the radio. You talk to people.
It's just all about having a conversation, and that's what it comes down to. But in fact, now all these things are coming back to going back to when you sold me my first car. I bet you remember what you used to call me.
Special K? I don't
No,
know.
you're close, K-Man.
K-Man.
I turned to my father and I go, "Come on, is this because of the sales line, K-Man? K-Man, is he trying to
Everybody
butter me up?" You did a
gets
great.
nickname.
I know.
Everybody, I give
You had-
everybody.
Did you give
almost-
everybody nicknames?
Almost everybody.
All right, a couple more quick questions. I see. I told you it goes by fast. I need to know. Yes, I'm going back to what was the favorite thing or favorite grinder you made at Remy's over the years?
Well, over the years, again, salami was probably the favorite, but I started making what's called a pizza grinder. And Coach Crud, we talked about earlier.
Oh, just got into the Wyndham Hall of Fame over the
He
weekend.
did.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you deserve it, Coach. So he'd come down. Started, it was basically a grinder with sauce and cheese, mozzarella, pepperoni, sausage, meatball. He'd come in once a week, and he always remembers the pizza grinder whenever I see him.
Oh,
But I've made so many friends over the years.
oh my God. Well, that leaves me my final question. I usually try and like to ask all my guests this. Yeah, there are a bunch
But I
of
got
people.
so much more though.
I know. We'll have to. I wish we could do a part two. We really could. I gotta know. Shout out to a few people or somebody you want to recognize throughout the years, and there's probably many that have helped you along the journey that is Jay Hanfield.
Well, obviously our parents. I mean, back when we were growing up back in the 50s and 60s, it was a family unit pretty much. Mom and Dad would have breakfast on almost every morning. Would have dinner at night. We'd go to mass on Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
And again, your parents have a big influence on your lives. And so on your friends growing up. I went to St. Joe's Grammar School with some really great kids. And
You're a big athlete too, real quick. Didn't you?
well,
you were
back in
telling me-
high school, yeah.
Played at Wyndham.
Yeah, we went and graduated the year they won we were 12-0. We had the undefeated season back with Brian Vertifay and Johnny Green.
Wait, were you on any of those teams? Did you play?
No, I played freshman football, and I was 5'2", 122 pounds. So,
I hear you there.
but that's when they started the first soccer program,
Yeah.
which was good because they gave a lot of kids who didn't play football because there really wasn't much else in sports in those days. It was basically football, baseball, cross country, track, and
soccer.
golf.
Overall
No,
soccer.
I was on the first soccer team.
Were you?
Yeah, I was on
Okay.
the first wrestling team. That's when
Okay.
there was no girls teams,
Yeah,
so it was a different game back then.
definitely.
But it was great.
All right, let me hear you call me K-Man one more time, just for old time's sake. Let me hear it.
Hey man, you're the best.
Oh, we could go on and
Been a
on.
pleasure.
Great to see this guy. See him in church. Saw him in Big Y. That's how we kind of, got this show in the works, and we finally got him in here. Jay Hanfield. You knew him from Remy's, Wild, Gates. Some of you may know him from the golf course now. So thanks for coming in.
Politics too. It's
The politics too.
no
Episode
public service. I'm sorry.
Episode 104 of Hometown Threads. Big thanks to Liberty Bank, Be Community Kind. Thank you to J. Matt Rupar. And that'll do it for episode 104. And in the words of the great Roddy McCumber.
Bye for now, folks. Bye for now.
And that concludes another edition of Hometown Threads. Got a story for Keith? Reach out to him on Facebook by searching Keith C. Rice. Or email him at krice@hallradio.net. Don't forget to tune in next week on 14 WILI and 95.3 FM, as well as the Willimantic Today page on Facebook.